Nestled at the foot of the San Gabriel Mountains, Altadena is known for its natural beauty and scenic views, its charming neighborhoods and deep historical roots.
Trying to describe it to people, you realize how special a community that it was before and that it still is.
A place shaped by the contributions of its diverse residents, people from different backgrounds, cultures, and experiences.
We earned that land. There's a heritage to our city and to the men and women who come before us.
For the Black community, there's a rich history that dates back over a century, marked by resilience, perseverance, and an unwavering sense of hope, even in the face of so much devastation left behind from the Eaton wildfire.
Though we've been ravaged, we are yet resilient.
From the founding churches that became pillars of support and unity, to the contributions of cultural icons that helped pave the way for future generations. Black residents have long played an integral role in defining the spirit and diversity of Altadena.
And if we can't rebuild, we'll wait until we can, and we'll pass it on and continue to build stronger.
On this Spectrum News One special, Deep Roots, the rich history of Altadena, we tell the stories of the people and places that have helped define the spirit and those determined to make sure that it lives on for many generations to come. Hi everyone, I'm Tanya McRae and welcome to Deep Roots, the rich history of Altadena. I'm here at the Pasadena Museum of History, which has an immense archival collection of photographs, documents, and artifacts. And the museum plays a crucial role in preserving the history of Pasadena and its surrounding communities like Altadena. And as Altadena and its residents look forward to recovering from the devastating Eaton Fire, we're looking back at how the city became one of the top destinations for many Black families to realize the American dream of buying a home.
This is a map of Pasadena and Altadena in 1898.
And I'm shocked at how populated it is in that time already. Veronica Jones is president of the Altadena Historical Society. She's showing me a map of the area in the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains that was established as a subdivision in 1887 and became Altadena. Within 10 years, it quickly began attracting ranchers and farmers and a few Black pioneers. Tell me about some of the earliest Black settlers in Altadena.
We had Robert Owens back in the 1800s who lived up in the mountains with the indigenous people.
Robert Owens became rich by chopping down trees and bringing wood to the U.S. military.
And we had Ellen Garrison Clark, and she came here to teach Blacks to read and write.
During the Great Migration between 1910 and 1940, roughly 1.5 million Black people left the South and began dispersing across the U.S. The Hickenbottoms settled in Pasadena in 1924. Their descendants later purchased a home in Altadena, where John Hickenbottom still lived until his home was destroyed in the Eaton Fire.
Altadena was a place where Black families could move to and could thrive and could shake off the shackles, so to speak, of racial discrimination and build generational wealth.
M. Earl Grant, a Black Pasadena businessman, founded Family Savings and Loan Association in 1949. What's the importance of the Family Savings and Loan?
Earl Grant made it possible for families to buy homes.
Black families.
Black families to buy homes.
Altadena was still a predominantly white community in the 1950s and 60s, but it had begun to draw some prominent Black residents. One of them was Clarence Jones, who was the first Black man to become a partner in a Wall Street investment bank, and he was the reason Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to Altadena for a visit. And here we have Dr. King, and this is 1960?
Yes, because Clarence Jones went to hear him preach at Friendship to try and decide whether or not he would work with Martin.
And this was sort of the beginning of the I Have a Dream speech, right?
Yes, he helped write the I Have a Dream speech and the letters from the Birmingham jail.
Well, that right there is incredible Altadena history.
Yes.
Altadena also became home to other Black luminaries, including actors Sidney Poitier, Ozzie Davis, and Ruby Dee, baseball legend Jackie Robinson, Black Panther leader Eldridge Cleaver, and author Octavia Butler. Things really began to change in Altadena with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968, which prohibited housing discrimination. In 1960, Altadena's population was 95% white and 4% black. By 1970, the share of black residents was 27%, and by 1980, it was 43% black. Today, Altadena's black population has dropped to 18%, but it's become a very racially and culturally diverse community. Why is it so important for the people who are living here right now, whose homes burned down, to come back and rebuild?
It's important that they come back to Altadena because it's been 100 years of fighting, 100 years of building that diversity. It's taken their parents, their grandparents, to be steadfast in what they knew was right, to build that community. And it's important that we keep that so that we don't have to start over from ground zero.
And now we turn to a living testament of Altadena's rich black history. At 97 years old, she lost her home in the Eaton Fire, but not her spirit. After going viral for her inspiring outlook on life and loss, Dorothy Frank shares memories of the Altadena she fell in love with decades ago and the family ties that prove unshakable. Ari Williams has her story.
You taking a picture of this, right?
Oh yeah, we've got this whole thing documented.
Today, Dorothy Frank is getting a makeover. She's 97, but she'll tell you she's been a firecracker since back in the day.
When I came to California from New Orleans, the kids in the class would be looking at me and laughing, talking about Louisiana hot sauce.
In 1972, Miss Dorothy moved to Altadena with her husband.
I just felt like I was close to heaven, and it was just beautiful. It was nothing but space, and you walked all around in the mountains, and the coyotes, and the neighbors, everybody was so nice.
It was a bright chapter of her legacy, which included children and her beloved grandchildren.
I had a swimming pool and a big yard, and the kids would come over every day. I would babysit some kids and my grandkids, and it was just like Disneyland.
But on January 7th, Miss Dorothy's house was one of the ones claimed by the Eaton Fire. Its flames devouring her neighborhood and the home she cherished left cradled in ash. But despite the destruction, when Miss Dorothy went back to the property, she felt gratitude.
The house is gone, but I'm here. Thank you, Father. I thought I would be devastated, but I'm not. Feel like I've had a beautiful life.
Her video quickly went viral, and Miss Dorothy credits her family for her hope. And that's why for her granddaughter Nicole, organizing Miss Dorothy's makeover with the help of local org Charlie's Angels and local business Browse and Cocoa meant so much.
Oh, this is beautiful. I got to get a whole new style now.
This is so beautiful.
But for Nicole, Miss Dorothy's influence started a long time ago.
Hey, what?
Growing up in Altadena with my grandmother, it was always a lot of fun. So many just endless summers in the pool every day. She is definitely a heavy inspiration of my cooking background.
Nicole runs catering company Rose Gold Plates. For her, losing the city where she went to school and had fond memories was hard.
It felt like a bad dream. It felt like a movie. You know, you always see this kind of stuff, but you never imagine that it's gonna happen in your city, you know, your family, your friends.
So she decided to take action.
I'm a part of Project Rebuild Altadena, and it's basically just an initiative to bring back the community and keep it in the hands of the community, not let us lose sight of, you know, what it was built on.
Of course, she'll have to balance that with managing Miss Dorothy's new career as an internet sensation.
I don't feel like an old lady. Hello.
And everybody's favorite grandma.
I feel sexy.
I'm really, really glad that she could pass on some resilience and she could uplift people.
And they believe that's the heart of Altadena.
It's been a beautiful life. God has blessed me.
Coming up, how Altadena pastors are facing their own personal losses while guiding and uplifting a close-knit community in need. One of the deepest roots in Altadena is its connection to faith, a root that was certainly tested by the Eaton Fire. And Kelvin Washington has that story.
I got Pastor Williams here, Bishop Henry, I got Pastor Burrell there, amen, Pastor Kennerbrew.
At least a dozen pastors lost their homes when the Eaton Fire tore through Altadena and parts of Pasadena, including Pastor Anthony McFarland of Lift International.
Our whole area, our whole property, home destroyed.
He and his wife, they left their home with only the clothes on their backs, losing everything they owned.
If one is not well, we all aren't well. And so we've all been affected.
Several churches were also damaged and destroyed by the fire, including Hillside Tabernacle's City of Faith.
Our whole back building's gone.
The church lost its Family Life Center.
That's where we were doing re-entry programs. That's where we were doing expungements for those who had criminal records, but they turned their lives around. So it's not just a matter that we lost homes, we lost dreams.
Lifeline Fellowship Christian Church, Altadena United Methodist Church, Altadena Baptist Church, just some of the places of worship that are now in ashes. It's a sobering loss that left a void where Altadena residents could go for support. That loss highlighted by Congresswoman Maxine Waters.
When you have pastors who can give guidance, who can be there in time of trouble, who can pray with you, that has been what has held our communities together.
And Reverend Al Sharpton, who visited the area for a memorial service to honor the lives lost.
17 churches burned in this town, 8 of them black. And out of the black church came black colleges, came black elected officials, came black fraternities, came black sororities. Why? Because on the church, we could call on God and nobody could get in our way.
But in the midst of the rubble, the struggle, the devastation, a spirit of hope shines through. Like the Bible says, the church isn't about just 4 walls. It's about the collection of the people.
I believe that though we've been ravaged, we are yet resilient.
Faith leaders vowing to be there for what comes next.
We are standing in the gap for those who are victims of this crisis. But we're together, and we're Altadena strong.
And as we take a look at the people and places that make Altadena the very special place that it is, we're reminded of a school and church lost to the Eaton Fire that has been a part of the community for more than a century. Shelley Leggett met up with the school leaders to learn more about its rich history and what's next for their campus.
It's not getting easier just yet.
St. Mark's head of school, Jennifer Tolbert, takes a walk around campus, or what's left of it.
Every time I walk through here, I'm looking for the signs, the miracles, the things that survived.
After the Eaton Fire destroyed it and its adjacent church.
All the memories of each of these buildings just kind of floods over you.
Prominent buildings that have been a part of the Altadena community for decades.
So this is our classroom cottage building. This housed our 5th and 6th grade. It's a 2-story building, upstairs and downstairs.
St. Mark's Episcopal Church was founded in 1906 at a location on Washington Boulevard, then moved to its current location on East Altadena Drive in 1948. 12 years later, St. Mark's School was founded in 1960.
And that was a pretty tumultuous time if you look back in the history. A lot happening in this community around redlining, a lot happening with civil rights, and so our school was founded during that time.
Many families have found their way through both the church and the school, like Stefan and Arian Taylor. The Taylor family has been a part of the Altadena community for more than 40 years.
To be a part of this community and to be a part of Altadena and St. Mark's as a whole, I think we're very proud of where we come from. The lion is a perfect symbol of that.
Stefan was born and raised in the community, and they both decided to raise their children here as well.
Gianna started right there in Miss Poole's class.
They have 3 children currently enrolled at St. Mark's.
As our kids call it, home away from home. It's their home, their second home.
The Taylors say St. Mark's stands out when compared to other private and charter schools. 25 to 30% of the 320 students that attend St. Mark's are on some form of financial assistance.
And they've embraced every type of person that you could imagine here. So that's not the buildings, that's the people here.
And one of those people is Tolbert.
She has been a guiding light for this community.
She's been the head of school for 10 years. 10 years that were almost completely wiped away by the fast-moving flames of the Eaton Fire.
She has shown up for our community. She has shown up at track meets for our kids.
That's right.
She has been a steady and a constant.
A constant in a time of uncertainty, as this once robust church and school campus lies dormant. Tolbert says even though they plan to rebuild in the same spot, this big piece of the Altadena community has been changed forever.
Coming up, how local businesses are stepping up to help the community rebuild. Welcome back. I'm here at the Pasadena Museum of History, which houses an extensive archive of Pasadena and Altadena history. Altadena and Pasadena are tight-knit communities that quickly rallied for each other. It's what one Pasadena bookstore owner says the community has always done. So when it was time for her to do the same, she didn't think twice. Taylor Torregano has that story.
Assembling free care packages to help customers breathe easier, Nikki High says it's been 2 years of amazing highs and lows as the only independent Black bookstore owner in Pasadena.
I feel extraordinarily blessed.
She remembers the turnout on her opening day, walking blocks up the street as hundreds of new customers waited hours to shop in her new bookstore after a tweet about the opening went viral.
Here's Nikki High.
This marked the beginning of a new chapter that's been all but predictable, she says, except for one constant.
I am just leaning into the community who has always lifted me up.
A strong support system in a town that would soon lose almost everything. When the state's second most destructive wildfire on record ripped through Altadena, Nikki didn't hesitate.
I started out just telling people that I had access to Wi-Fi and power because there's lots of FEMA applications and insurance claims to be filed.
And once again, the power of social media met the strength in unity.
And then this happened.
Donations of all kinds started pouring in, so much so that Nikki decided to transform the store into a fire recovery center, replacing the books on the shelves with food, clothes, water, hygiene, and hair products. Nikki says it's been a healing experience. Though she didn't lose her home, hers is one of the only left standing in an entire neighborhood now completely decimated, and she hasn't been able to return.
We are really doing a hard focus on trauma care and aftercare, journaling workshops, somatic healing, group therapy, grief counseling.
Grief that's very real for those like Ryan Ashley Hunt, who says moving to Altadena nearly 10 years ago changed her life.
Being in a state of disaster where everything is chaos and there's really almost nothing you can do about it, and watching it happen to the place that it sits at the core of who I am and who I've grown to know myself to be was really destabilizing.
As Altadena looks to rebuild with the same magic and diversity Nikki says it was always known for.
I mean, 82% of all Black residents in Altadena are homeowners, which is twice the national average. And we're in a very tricky space right now with everything being the way that it is.
Refusing to lose joy as they share in collective grief, turning a new page with a restored faith in humanity.
The way people have come together is just remarkable. And as Altadena looks to rise again, healing also includes helping to restore hearts and minds, a mission that is core to Walk Good LA, a wellness collective born out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And Ray Williams is back with that story.
My favorite part is this desk.
Every part of this wellness space, the Walk Good Yard, fills Etienne Maurice with joy for himself and his community. But even before the space, Etienne's nonprofit Walk Good LA, founded in 2020 by him, his sister, and his cousin, had long been providing everything from yoga classes to events focused on Black men.
We are continuing to provide safe, equitable, healing spaces for underserved communities. That has always been our mission from day one.
The Walk Good Yard includes a quiet, comforting space and an open, airy space for all sorts of wellness practices, mindfulness workshops, and panels. And Etienne says it's necessary.
Right now we're in a time where Mental health workers are overworked, and a lot of people are searching desperately to find the tools and the resources.
And that crisis has become even more urgent since the Los Angeles wildfires, especially in Altadena, where a significant portion of the Black community lost everything. Walk Good immediately activated, turning the Walk Good Yard into a hub for donations, community, connection, and most of all, healing.
Through this communal healing work, people can feel safe and seen and actually be a part of our community so that they don't feel alone, and it shows what's possible.
And for Walk Good LA, a vibrant, healed Los Angeles isn't just possible, it's already in motion.
Several organizations, including Walk Good LA, are helping people who lost their homes in the fires. You can scan the QR code or go to walkgoodla.org/donate. We honor Altadena's rich history and the strength and resilience of its community. I'm Tanya McRae. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.